Hey y'all, welcome back to art. I'm so sorry that I can't be there today, but I am still going to walk you through our lesson for today. So, just a few things before we do get started. Make sure that you are sitting crisscross applesauce on a sit spot, not in a chair, and that your voice is all the way off and your hands are to yourself. Just like in music, the expectation is that you're sitting crisscross, not laying down, you're not talking, and if you do have something to say, you raise your hand, but why don't you hold those questions until the very end of the video so that we don't have to pause it. So, another thing, just before you do get started today, please make sure that you're being safe in the art room. I know that I'm not there, but all of the regular rules and expectations are still in place. The tables are pretty close together, and as you can see, that one is really close to a countertop. That does not give you permission to put your hands on it and swing back and forth. If you do that, you could fall and get seriously injured, so make sure that you are following all of those rules that you would follow even though I am not there. Okay, so today what we're doing is we're actually playing a game in order to create a pattern dice. So whenever you get to your table, you're going to have a box that has several sheets of paper in it that are laminated. Please don't draw on these pieces of paper because we're going to use them in every class for the rest of the week. And how this game works is you actually start by drawing a leaf. So there's two of everything in there so that you can share with the person that's sitting next to you, not the person across from you, but the person right next to you for finding your leaf and finding your patterns. So you don't have to choose one of the leaves that are on this sheet, but you can if you want to. And make sure that you draw it really big, whatever you do choose. So with these leaves, remember that a leaf is an organic shape. So organic shapes are things that look similar but aren't the exact same. Like if I were to go outside and I were to grab an apple from a tree and I went to the same branch and I grabbed another apple, I could look at those shapes and know that they are both apples. However, if I look at them really closely, they're not going to be the exact same. So an organic shape is a free-form shape. Another example are the sit spots. They are all very similar, but none of them are the exact same. So that is an organic shape. So there's this in there to pick your leaf, and then there's also the roll dice little pattern sheet. It's like Zentangles basically, for my friends that know what a Zentangle is. Also in this box are 3 dice. I don't know why that's in there. 3 dice. So these need to stay inside of the box. Even whenever you're rolling them, you're gonna stay inside the box. So let's get started. So the first thing that you're gonna do is make sure that your name is on your artwork and your teacher code. So remember that your name and your teacher code go on the back. If you put it on the front, that is okay, but I'd rather it go on the back because eventually we're gonna cut these out. This is a 2-day project, so please don't rush it. So with your teacher code, that is the first letter of your teacher's name and your grade. So if I'm in 5th grade and my teacher is Miss Hanson, I'm gonna be 5H. My 4th grade friends, you know if you have an extra letter on there or not. Same thing with 2nd grade. You know if you have an extra letter or not. So I turn my paper over, and the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw my leaf. So I found it easier if I turn it this way, and I start at the top by drawing an arch. It is gonna be a little backwards on this camera, but I draw an arch like a rainbow, and then I can draw another one on this side so that I'm making like an eyeball or a football shape. And it does not need to be perfect because in nature, leaves aren't perfect. So then I take this and I'm gonna draw right down the middle to have a stem because every leaf has a stem. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna divide it up into sections. So you need at least 5 sections, but if you wanna make more, you can. And I'm just using diagonal lines to do that are kind of wiggly, trying to make it look real organic. And boom, I have 6 sections. You might even have more than that, but draw really big because it's gonna be cooler if you draw bigger. So with this, then I can start with the dice part of the game. So with this, it's gonna tell you exactly what you need to do. So roll number 1, roll 2, 3, 4, 5. And here's the dice, what it lands on. So how I would do this is I would make sure that everything stays in the box. and I would take one dice. It does not matter what color you get, and you can even take a different dice each time, because while I'm drawing my pattern, someone else at my table might be ready. That's why there's only 3 instead of having 4 or 5 for our bigger classes. So I take this dice and I'm very gently going to toss it. So it was this red one, and it's red 3. I would keep that box in the middle of the table, by the way. So I scroll down here to number 3, and then I check out the first box because it's roll number 1. So with this first roll, this is the pattern that I got. I would pick any section in here that I wanted to do, and I would start drawing out that pattern. The cool thing about this game is that no one's is going to look the exact same because we're all going to be rolling different things. So whenever I've got this done, I can go back over to my box, and they're staying in the box because if you throw it on the table, it will be very loud and it'll actually fall off the table. These are not my dice, so we need to make sure we're being very respectful of our art supplies and keeping everything inside of the box. So then I would roll again. I'm also not throwing it whenever I'm rolling it. I'm trying to be as quiet as I can whenever I'm rolling it so that our noise level is under control. So a 4. Now I would go over to number 2, go down to number 4, and I would see that that's my pattern. So I could start drawing that one. And fill up the entire thing by playing this game. It does only go to 5. Here's what you can do whenever you hit the 5th one. You can either go back and start over, or whenever you roll, like let's say that I just rolled another 4, then I could go in here on my 6th one, or 7, 8, 9, however many you have, and I could decide which one of these I want to use. So if I really liked this acorns, but I hadn't rolled it, I could do it as my 6th one if I rolled a 4. The next thing that you're going to want to do is grab an outlining crayon. So these outlining crayons are very large and they are thick and black. They're perfect for outlining, and depending on how your day goes, the second day next week, whenever we're adding more color, I might just let you use paint. So that's why we are picking these instead of using a marker or a Sharpie, is because if you have a really good day today, then I will let you use a paint next week. And these are waterproof, and wax and water don't mix. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna take this and I'm pushing down pretty hard, trying not to break it though. And I'm gonna trace my whole thing. Before you even start tracing, make sure that you've filled in all your spaces, but I didn't want you to have to sit and watch that. I'm going to trace every line that I see. Anywhere that I've got pencil, I'm doing my best to trace over it. So I missed a couple spots there because I was watching the camera instead of watching the paper. So if you do that, feel free to grab an eraser from the eraser park, and then you can just erase. I'd also, like I said, cover all pencil lines, so you would also cover these things up. I'll put some new crayons in there because they're getting a little bit dull, but you can grab whichever one is going to work best for you to continue to fill them all up. So when you are done, you should have something that looks like this. You've got a leaf, it's done, you are ready to go. On your board under your I can statement, it tells you which materials you can use today. If this is as far as you get today, no worries, because that is as far as most of the classes got today, which is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. So most of the classes got this far today. Then you are going to just start coloring. So you pick your supply that's on your board and you can start filling it in. We're going to work on this next week too, so please don't rush them. And next week, like I said, if you've had a really good day, I'll unlock watercolor as a station for you as well. So awesome. I hope that you have a great day. Don't forget your volume levels and have fun.